It's no secret that Katy Perry's career has plummeted in the last few years. Katy Perry went from being the first ever female to have 5 #1 songs on one album to her albums Witness, Smile, completely flopping. And as such, Katy Perry was panicking in the lead up to the release of her latest album 143. So what did she do? Well, whilst claiming she was an ally to the LGBTQ+ community and that she doesn't do it for the male gaze, she does it for the male gaze, Katy Perry did what she does best: exploit the LGBTQ+ community for her own personal gain. At the 2024 VMAs, Katy Perry was one of the performers, and she put on quite the show, performing E.T., I Kissed a Girl, Firework, and a new song from her album 143, I'm His, He's Mine. This song features the queer artist Doechii, and Doechii actually joined Katy Perry on stage for this performance, because by this point in time her album was already not doing well. So Katy Perry was in panic mode, crisis mode if you will, and she went back to her roots and what originally made her popular, which was the shock factor of 2 women together. So to see Katy Perry's performance with Doechii of I'm His, He's Mine, and see her fake and pretending to kiss Doechii at the end of the segment by like leaning in real close, getting all like close and personal, and then nothing happens. It's incredibly disappointing because it is on the back of the LGBTQ+ community and is incredibly damaging. And I wasn't the only person that thought this, because sometimes when I have these thoughts, I'm like, am I just too chronically online? Do I, oh goodness, am my plastic sticking out? Do I just need to go like touch some grass? But my TikTok feed was flooded with other queer women agreeing with me, expressing their disappointment in Katy Perry for once again objectifying queer women for the sole purpose of the male gaze and male attention. Now, before you come for me in the comments defending Katy Perry and Doechii by saying that they are both queer women, I am not here to speculate on anyone's sexuality. They could have both been lesbians, they could have both been straight women, and what they did is still not okay. Their personal sexuality has nothing to do with this, because these 2 women fake kissed, you know, insinuating like they are 2 queer women that are like doing the deed, whilst singing a song that says I'm his, he's mine. They are literally singing about a man. Actually, let's look at some of the lyrics that these women were singing, shall we? I'm not gonna sing because I have a terrible singing voice and I would never object you guys to that. But some of the lyrics are, I'm every woman he wants, he needs, I'm his dream, I'm his drug, I'm every woman he wants, so what? I'm his boss, I'm that bitch, I'm every woman he knows exists, I'm his main, I'm his side, I'm every woman that's in his mind. So whilst literally emulating lesbians, Katy Perry is there singing about how she's here for a man. And every time the pair did something like saucy, the camera actually panned to Orlando Bloom, Katy Perry's husband, but more importantly, a man, to get his reaction, just like further signifying that this little segment was literally using queer women for the male gaze, for male attention. It was not to empowered women owning their sexuality and like showing it to this world. Instead, this performance that objectified the hypersexualization of queer women for the sole purpose of appeasing men, and so that Katy Perry could once again profit off of the LGBTQ community. The problem with this is the implication that it has in the real world. Every single day, queer women, or just queer people in general, are objectified by men. 9 times out of 10, when I first tell a man that I'm gay, the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, oh, I can turn you. Which, side note, their ego is always astounding to me, because it's like, I am literally a lesbian with a girlfriend. What makes you think that you're gonna be the man that'll like make me change my mind about that? I hear some of these men don't even wash their butts in the shower. Like, I am good with my lovely, gorgeous girlfriend. Thank you so much, sir. No, thank you. But anyway, the amount of times that men have told me that they can turn me, or they just say something like so disgusting and overly sexualized about me, when that is not even what the conversation is about. It's disgusting and it's rampant, and a lot of men seem to think that queer women purely exist for male enjoyment. Not only is this incredibly upsetting that like I constantly have to live my life justifying and explaining to men that I do not date women for their enjoyment, but it can end up being extremely dangerous for queer women. As we know, sometimes when men don't get their way, they get violent. Hate crimes are real. People are still hurt for their sexuality. I myself one time told a man that I was a lesbian, and he decided to grab my hair and pull me to the ground as a result of it. So this is why it's incredibly upsetting to see Katy Perry and Doechii fake kissing on stage while singing about a man, whilst literally singing the lyrics, I'm his, he's mine. It just reinforces this idea that queer women exist purely for men, and it is so incredibly damaging. But it is even worse when Katy Perry does it on such a huge platform like the VMAs, because it just then becomes normalized that queer women are hypersexualized. Also, Doechii does not get off scot-free in this scenario. I've seen a lot of people online defending her because Doechii herself is apparently dating a woman, and people are kind of like, it's okay, she's queer, it's fine. babe, it's actually worse that she participated in this and she is a queer woman, because she should have known better. It really sucks that we do, as queer people, constantly have to educate heterosexual people on what's right, what's wrong, how this can affect us, how their actions can like affect us negatively and impact our lives. But unfortunately, if we do not, no one will. So it is a little bit disappointing that Doechii participated in this. It's not lost on me that there was a major power imbalance between the pair. Katy Perry is this like major superstar, and I don't think that Doechii would have had as much pull in the meetings. If any, she was probably like told what to do. However, it is just still a little bit disappointing to see a queer woman participate in this. So why did Katy Perry even do this in the first place? Like, what was her thought process behind this? Well, I think it's because it worked for her back in 2007, 2008. So in 2007, she released her first EP entitled You're So Gay, alongside a song with the same title. And then in 2008, she of course released her #1 hit, I Kissed a Girl. I'm sure we all know that these are like both incredibly problematic. But let's start off with You're So Gay. The song engages in casual homophobia and uses stereotype. The song just like the entire time criticizes and makes fun of gay men. And when criticized for the song at the time, Katy Perry pulled one of her favorites, saying it's just a joke. She actually used this same excuse recently when she was criticized for her Woman's World video. She claimed it was like a feminist anthem, and when people said no, this really isn't, this is actually doing more harm than good, Katy Perry said, but it's just a joke, it's just a joke.
You can do it. You go, girl. You were born to shine. And we're kind of just having fun, being a bit sarcastic with it. It's very slapstick, very on the nose, like, ooh, we're not about the male gaze, but we really are about the male gaze. And we're really overplaying it and on the nose.
But you see, Katy Perry, if you actually do and say the thing and then you're like, oh no, it was a joke, you still did and said the thing. You can't release a song that is called You're So Gay, meaning it as a bad thing, meaning that being gay is bad, and be like, it's a joke. But following You're So Gay, Katy Perry released a song, I Kissed a Girl. The song is a bop. I loved that song growing up, which honestly explains a lot. But this song absolutely blew up and skyrocketed Katy Perry's career. Now, of course, this song is incredibly damaging and problematic, as the lyrics trivialize female sexuality, invalidate queer women, and once again, we're gonna have a full circle moment here, overly sexualize queer women, including the problematic line, no, I don't even know your name, it doesn't matter, you're my experimental gay. You know, lesbians aren't an experiment. Women who like other women are not an experiment. That we're not here for like a little bit of fun. You know, we're genuine real people who want to find a connection. And this trope can be incredibly damaging to the LGBTQ plus community. It's just, once again, like, queer women are not here to serve you, basically, you know what I mean? Like, we're not just here to appease straight people, to appease straight men. No, we're here to live our own lives. Now look, these songs were released a long time ago, 14 years ago to be exact. And if Katy Perry had come out and apologized, being like, look, I'm so sorry, it was a different time when I said all of these things, but it was wrong then and it's wrong now. I shouldn't have objectified the LGBTQ plus community. I apologize. I would have been totally on board and been like, yeah, slay babe, no worries, appreciate it, let's keep it moving. But has she apologized? No.
So that was in 2008 when it came out, and I think we really changed conversationally in the past 10 years. We've come a long way. Bisexuality wasn't as talked about back then, or any type of fluidity. If I had to write that song again, I probably would make an edit on it. Lyrically, you know, has a couple of like stereotypes in it. Your mind changes so much in 10 years and you grow so much. You know, what's true for you can evolve.
As is an ongoing theme with Katy Perry, she hasn't actually apologized. Instead, she's taken just enough accountability to get people to stop asking her about this without actually taking accountability at all and not doing anything to change. Because ultimately, Katy Perry hasn't changed and is more than happy to exploit the LGBTQ plus community for her own personal gain, as 14 years later, she is doing the exact same thing at the VMAs. And I have a theory as to why. Because Katy Perry has literally branded herself as a gay ally for years. She's performed at Pride and sports the rainbow flag a lot. So why would she go back to her roots and exploit the LGBTQ plus community like this? Like, she'd done so much work to move away from her I Kissed a Girl, You're So Gay past, move forward and be progressive, just to go straight back to it. Why is this? Because of her failing music career. Back in the early 2010s, Katy Perry was on top of the world. Her album, One of the Boys, contained hit after hit. In 2010, she released her next album, Teenage Dream, which literally broke records and featured 5 #1 songs, something that had only been done in the past by Michael Jackson. And Katy Perry's success continued with her next album, Prism, again going to #1. But what goes up must come down. And from here on out, Katy Perry's career did not go as well. Now, I want to do a side note here. To say Katy Perry's career didn't go well is relative. Her following album, Witness, did debut as #1 and had Swish Swish on it, which was a song that performed incredibly well and featured Nicki Minaj. I personally enjoyed her album, but it definitely wasn't as good good as her previous album. And the sales reflected that, as it was only certified gold. Only. Again, it's relative. In comparison to her previous success, it did not do as well. But like, for most artists, that is still incredible. Then she released her album Smile. I actually did not even know that this album existed, but it featured songs like Harley's in Hawaii and Never Really Over, and this album did not do well, peaking at number 40. A far cry from her previous record-breaking album. So Katy Perry was in crisis mode. Her albums were not working, she was falling off, and instead of potentially just like, you know, calling it a day, enjoying her fame, money, family, and going down like a Mariah Carey path where it's like you don't really put out new music anymore, but you're such an icon that you don't need to. Instead, Katy Perry didn't do that. She released another album, 143. And in the lead up to this album, she declared it was her comeback. It was going to be just as good as the OG albums. Honestly, it was kind of sad to watch. Katy Perry just kind of gave the energy of trying to reclaim her youth. And don't get me wrong, she is still young. Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, a woman's over 30? No, she's old. Not at all. But I do think it's unlikely that Katy Perry is ever going to see the level of success that she once had. It was once in a lifetime, record breaking. And to kind of see her chase her tail essentially and keep trying to get back to that success and failing miserably in the process, it is a bit sad to watch. And in an attempt to claw onto this past success, Katy Perry decided to rely on her old, outdated, and incredibly toxic tactics from the early 2010s. And what were these, you ask? Exploiting the LGBTQ plus community and working with Dr. Luke. I mean, why not? It worked in 2010, it would work now, right? Wrong. 142 did not perform well. The album peaked at number 6, which was a lot better than Smile, but it dropped off completely, like straight afterwards. None of the songs were smash hits, and the album was largely criticized and overall deemed a failure. So when it was announced that Katy Perry was working with Dr. Luke on her album, even longtime Katy Perry fans, like myself, were incredibly disappointed. If you don't know, Dr. Luke was allegedly accused of assaulting Kesha. When I say allegedly accused, I need to be careful what I say because I don't want to be sued, but I believe the victims. I believe Kesha, so I'm saying allegedly, but we support Kesha around here. So Dr. Luke worked with Katy Perry on her earlier albums that had a lot of success. And so Katy Perry, desperate to relive the past, recruited him for her album 143. Katy Perry received a lot of backlash about this. And when she was asked about it on the Call Her Daddy podcast, she did the classic Katy Perry, where she accepts just enough accountability to get people to stop asking her about it without actually taking any accountability and having no real change.
I do want to ask you about one collaborator in particular. I know a lot of people have expressed disappointment and were really upset that you decided to involve Dr. Luke on this album. Why did you choose to work with him?
Look, I understand that it started a lot of conversations, and he was one of many collaborators that I collaborated with, but the reality is it comes from me. The truth is I wrote these songs from my experience of my whole life going through this metamorphosis. And he was one of the people to help facilitate all that. One of the writers, one of the producers. And I am speaking from my own experience. When I speak about Woman's World, I speak about feeling so empowered now as a mother, as a woman, giving birth, creating life, creating another set of organs, a brain, a heart. I created a whole ass heart and I did it and I'm still doing it and I'm still a matriarch and feeling really grounded in that.
And also not apologizing. I don't know why she doesn't apologize. I don't understand this with celebs in general. Why don't they just say like, sorry, messed up? Like, what? I don't know. But Katy Perry's nasty tactics of working with Dr. Luke and attempting to like have her career on the back of the LGBTQ plus community did not work and really were the final nails in her coffin for her career. It's quite clear that she doesn't care about anything except for trying to relive the past and revive her career, even if it's at the expense of others. Now you might be thinking, Katy Perry is an ally, babe. She's always performing at Pride Festival and always has drag queens perform with her. But all of Katy Perry's activism towards the LGBTQ plus community feels very performative. She claims she's an ally, but her entire career is based off exploiting and hypersexualizing queer women. Literally since the beginning. Like her first song that went big was I Kissed a Girl. 14 years later, she's doing the exact same thing at the VMAs. Meanwhile, other artists who genuinely like support the LGBTQ plus community aren't doing this. Like think of Lady Gaga, Ariana Grande, who will perform their songs about queer love or hold up the pride flag in countries where it's still illegal to be gay. These are people that are genuinely allies to the community, not someone who made their career off a song called I Kissed a Girl and You're So Gay and is like fake with another woman for male attention. I don't believe that Katy Perry has a genuine interest in the well-being of the LGBTQ+ community. I think she has an interest in benefiting and profiting from it. But ultimately, it didn't work as her recent album flopped. And this is because the world has changed. Although it does not feel like it at times. We are evolving every single day and moving forward. Artists are no longer able to do things like this and just push it under the rug. People call them out for their bad actions. People explain how it is hurting others, and you're just not able to get away with it like they did in the past, which is really good. So I am gonna call it there today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I upload new videos every single week, sometimes twice a week. Whilst you're there, be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, as if I'm not posting on YouTube, that is where I am posting. I love you so much, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye.